All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Saturday, April 13th, 2024. Today we are going to be racing a short qualifier at Azerbaijan here at the Brazuka Racing League. I'm your host for this afternoon, Sterling C. Beard, and I'll be broadcasting this race of competitors here once it gets underway in about 25 seconds. Last week, we managed to get me in the game, but then, unfortunately, my race director actually froze and I was unable to re-enter. So I'm going to be very hesitant today to reactivate the race director, just given our recent experiences, but we shall see how everything pans out. But as Adriano says in the chat, let's go. All right, let's see what weather conditions we have today here in Azerbaijan. And somebody's got their voice chat active. There we go. We've got zero voice chat going on now. And I'm, like I said, going to be a little hesitant to jump in and try to switch on the race director, just given that the last time I tried, we got kind of screwed on it. But I will try real quick here. Okay, so I was not able last time to to jump back, so we should be good to go here. All right. We're not even a few minutes into qualifying. We've already got our first incident today as Jestim Takifeni crossed the pit lane exit white line. That's a warning. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it apparently is. So today we have, of course, Tario racing for Aston Martin. GW racing for Red Bull. Elite Shots, our lone competitor from the UK today, racing for McLaren. Ufapio racing for Haas. Soldier One Assault for Alpine. Hiron Pelosi for Ferrari. Force One Paolo and Boris Doito, both for Mercedes. Eska 0606 for Haas. Jestin Takifeni for Aston Martin. Martins Carlos, my old buddy from high school, is racing for Alfa Romeo Kick. Then we have Claudio racing for McLaren. And, of course, CWB Lucas Maresh racing for Red Bull. So we've got a lineup today of 13 competitors here in Grid Bravo. Looks like everybody here for the qualifier will be rolling with some soft tires. So let's check how things are working so far. Lots of tight cornering here, obviously, in Azerbaijan. This is not a track that has necessarily just a ton of great long straightaways. There's a lot of tight chicanes. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the, let's see, detail, tire, best. Okay. Yeah, go with the tire here. Telemetry enabled, lap data enabled, track map, full track map. All right, now we should have everything we need, and if I need to pull things away, I can briefly using the Y button. So we've got folks flying through here. Right now we are currently tracking Elite Shots, our British competitor, out on his outlap as he makes his way back towards the finish line. All right, so he's now tracking Elite Shots. He is getting around the first curve in Sector 1. Let's grab a first-person view here. So I was about to say, I stand slightly corrected on the number of straightaways. Obviously, coming out into Sector 1, you have a good, decent straightaway with a hard left-hand turn, a 90-degree left-hand turn coming out of Sector 1. We'll see that here from the position of Elite Shots. Takes that 90-degree left-hand turn quite nicely. And then he has that followed up briefly afterward with a 90-degree right-hand turn. Then we have a quick chicane, kind of a loop segment to get through, and then the back half of the course really is a place to pick up a lot of speed, make up some good time. As a matter of fact, we'll be able to see that here momentarily as we shift around a little bit. Here we are watching Eufapio. Oh my goodness, cutting it tight in those corners, but here he is coming around the backside of segment 3, rocketing towards that finish line, 11,000 RPMs plus, really pushing his vehicle to the limit here. And he's got, as a matter of fact, we just saw Eufapio complete a 1:48.02. That is the fastest lap thus far. And if Eufapio can hold that, if nobody else can catch him, he will have the pole position. He's got 1 laps out here. Let's see if Eufapio will be able to, in fact, go ahead and hold that position. If he can beat his 1:48.02, well, looks like Carlos has actually taken the fastest lap time here with a 1:44.419, a full almost 3.5 seconds faster. Well, I say almost. All right, Eska 006. See, 0606 006, like what I did there. Coming in just ahead of Carlos at a 1:43.969. So 3 folks have already set their pole position time. We've got 12 minutes and 35 seconds left here in the qualifier. So just a few minutes here before the race gets properly started. Still some folks on their outlap, including Claudio and Tariel. Other folks working now to complete it. We've got Boris Doido and Lucas Maresh in the pit. All right. Elite Shots coming in here with a 2:12 so far. Some time to maybe push that time a little bit lower. Everybody, of course, as you would expect, using soft tires for some grip, trying to make sure that they can really do well here when it comes to the chicanes, stick low to the ground, get that grippy turning. Nicely done there by Elite Shots. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Those chicanes coming into section 2. I may adjust the volume slightly because that is loud in my ears. So I'm going to pull that back just a tad. All right. There we go. If I turn it down on my own mic headset rather than the program, I think that makes it so that you can still hear me over the program, but you get a good feeling for the engine power that these racers are riding with today. And of course, we're still with Elite Shots here, working his way through Sector 3, just really putting the hammer down, trying to get to that finish line, hoping to improve from his 2:12.930. And he does, considerably so, in fact. In fact, he's worked his way all the way up to second with a 1:43.851. Soldier One Assault, the current leader for pole position with a 1:42.668, followed by Elite Shots, Eska 0606, Carlos, Force One Paolo, and then Eufapio. No more than less than 6 seconds actually separate first place Soldier One Assault with a 1:42.668 from sixth place Eufapio with a 1:48.002. So very tight here in the early going for pole position. We have about 10 minutes and 17 seconds left in qualifying. A quick caution there in Sector 2. I think that might have been for Elite Shots there. But as we can see in this first-person view, going to work his way around the loop here. My goodness. This is one thing that has always fascinated me. Of course, as people who have seen my 2 previous broadcasts know, I am not a motorsport fan. It's not something that I grew up watching. Growing up in West Texas, as Carlos can tell you, motorsports was not that big. I mean, we had have a raceway out in our hometown of Abilene, Texas. But I believe it was more, I'm not even sure what kind of cars they race out there. I believe it's on a dirt track. But you know, there's not a big NASCAR fandom in Abilene that I'm aware of. Of course, in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area where I'm located currently, we have a racetrack there. But it is wild to me to see these powerful machines flying along at hundreds of kilometers per hour in what are essentially converted neighborhoods, which to me always blows my mind. That is just something that I cannot fathom. Both of my parents are attorneys, and the liability alone would dissuade me from participating in a race like this. I'd be worried that I'd smash into some storefront and then owe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair some sort of mom and pop shop that's been there since time immemorial in Azerbaijan. But it is interesting and fascinating to see, even digitally, even in a video game like F123. We'll switch over to Tariel here to watch as he rockets around the curve, heading into the straightaway near the end of Section 3 in 8th gear. 10,000, 11,000. He does have a gas light on at the moment here, so he's going to have to be careful. But he's going to have time here at the end, gets into the pit, no worries about the gas, so he'll pit momentarily. There we are. So Tariel's now in the garage. Soldier 1 Assault's also in the pit. Caution in Sector 3, now Sector 2. So let's see how our field is shaping up today so far. At the top, we have Soldier 1 Assault with a 142.668. 1 lap taken there. Justin Tacky in second with a 142.680, so very, very tight, 0.12 of a second behind Soldier 1 Assault. Very narrowly, Soldier 1 Assault taking first place there. And then not even that far behind Justin with a 142.791, we have Eska 006. Then followed by Elite Shots, our lone British competitor of the day, 143.851. Carlos coming in 5th here with a 144.419. So less than 2 seconds separate first place all the way through 5th place. So very, very tight up at the top of the pack. Force 1 Paolo just a smidge behind Carlos with a 145.397. Tariel coming in at 7th with a 147.745. Ufapio with a 148.002 is in 8th place. We have a current couple of racers not currently in the race. Claudio did set a 154.718, but he is not currently in the server. GW Hiram Pelosi also not currently in the server. Bois Doido and Lucas Maresh do not appear to have set times just yet, but they've still got a few minutes. They've got 6 minutes and 15 seconds left. So we'll see if they will be able to set the time that they're looking for. So let's, as we motor on down, Elite Shots out once again, maybe looking to just tweak that time he's got just slightly. If he can bring it up even 1 second, that'll bring him down to a 142.851, which will not quite be enough to swap spots with Eska 0606. He needs slightly more than a second off of his time to make his way into 3rd place. If he can take 2 seconds off, it'll bring him down to a 142, a 141. If he gets 2 seconds off, then he will be in the pole position. So as he motors through Section 2, he's got about 47 seconds on this lap timer. Kind of bounces off the wall there at this first right-hand turn in Section 2, working his way through the chicanes now. Going to have some time to make up here from bouncing off that wall. Now he's entering the loop. We'll see how he's able to do with the loop. Lucas Maresh actually has retired from the session. That leaves us with 4 racers who have chosen to retire from today's race. We'll see if they join us a little later. Hopefully they will. All right, nice and clean here through the lines. Let's see if he takes. All right, swings a little bit wide, slows down on that turn here. Caution in Sector 2. I do believe that's going to be Elite Shots, who kind of swung a little bit wide coming out of that last major turn in Sector 2. Really hammering the throttle now, trying to really push and get through the finish line. He's not going to take his best time, though. His best time is a 143.851. He is currently at a 158 and climbing. So he's going to finish that lap at 2:01.192. That gives him a lap time there, 17 seconds slower than his best so far. Now, Carlos is going to usurp shots here going into 5th place. He's managed to place a 1:43.730. He's on another lap here. We'll check in with Carlos watching here with the first-person camera as he flies through the course, making good time here in Section 1. Cuts the corner nicely. Let's see how he handles the second turn. Takes it a little slower than he might have liked, but he does manage to maintain some momentum, trying to maintain his racing line. All right, nicely done. He pulls around that first corner well. Second corner maybe not quite as tight, but not bad. And he's going to enter here briefly the right-hand turn, followed by the, well, what would we like to call that? The circle, the circuit, the biscuit. Narrowly dodges the walls, but does get through cleanly. Pulls tight left. Here we go. Carlos now fully into the loop. I guess we'll call it the loop. 1:07 on the clock for Carlos here. Now, if he can get his time down by even 1.1 seconds, he's currently got a 1:43.730. If he can get it down to a 1:42.730, that will put him all the way in 3rd place, replacing Eska 0606. If he can do a little bit better than that, if he can get 1.2 seconds off, that will actually put him in 1st place. So he's got a 1:37 now. He's got about 5 seconds to get all the way to the end of this straightaway. Can he do it? 42, not quite. He's going to go ahead and he's going to pit here instead. 1:47, 1:48. Fastest lap, however, now goes to Eska 0606 with a 1:42.122. And we join him here on this lap. So he set the fastest time today, currently taking pole position. 2 minutes left. Eska 0606 in first with a 1:42.122. Soldier One Assault with a 1:42.668. Justin Takifani with a 1:42.680. Horse One Palo 1:43 and 1/10 of a second. Or excuse me, not a tenth, excuse me. What is that? 100th of a second, I should say. Martin Carlos in 5th currently with a 1:43.730. Elite Shots 1:43.851 in 6th. Tariel with a 1:47.725 in 7th. Eufapio with a 1:48.002. Claudio, of course, set a 1:54.718, but has chosen to retire from the session. GW, Hiram Pelosi, Lucas Resch apparently deciding that they will not be participating today, or if they've had some technical troubles, hopefully they will be able to get back into the race. Boris Doido is on his outlap. Very little time here for Boris Doido to figure out how he's going to do this here. We'll go ahead and check down on Boris. Okay, if I hold that, that does not, in fact, swap things around. Boris here, on his outlap, he's got 56 seconds, and he's just coming around at the edge. Eufapio retiring from the session, 1:45.408 on his outlap. That would have been good for 7th. So a little bit surprising. Elite Shots, it looks like, has also retired from the session. Hopefully they'll be able to rejoin us. Boris Doido here, not much time to, well, he has gotten through the rest of the course, actually, so he's now on this lap. Caution, Sector 1. So, let's see, Boris Doido is still not going to have enough time to get through and set a qualifying time. The little lap 1 caution in Sector 1 has popped up in such a way that I can't actually see how much time is left in the qualifier. All right, and don't forget, folks, I have my multi-stream up, so whether you are watching on Twitch, whether you are watching... All right, 2:57 remaining here as the qualifying time has run out. We'll see what Boris Doido is able to do. Don't forget, folks, I am broadcasting live on my X account at Sterling C. Beard, on my Twitch account at Sterling C. Beard, and on my YouTube, which I believe should be at Sterling C. Beard. So... thank you again for joining me wherever in the world you are. It is a beautiful day digitally in Azerbaijan. We'll see how this race shakes out. We've got Soldier One Assault in first place with 1:41.692. Eska 0606 with a 1:42.122. Justin Takifani with a 1:42.680. Force One Paolo in 4th with a 1:43.010. Carlos with a 143.730 in 5th place. In 8th place, nominally, Tariel with a 146.261. Claudio, GW, Hiram Pelosi, Lucas Maresh did not set qualifying times and chose to retire from the session. Hopefully they will be able to join us again. Elite Shots and Ifapio, like I said, have also retired despite setting qualifying times. Hopefully they will be able to rejoin us. So here we go. Boris Doido with a 143.894 qualifying time. And just in time, there is 142 left here before the race kicks off. So we have just a moment. We will pause as I run to grab some water for my throat. I did some voice acting already this morning. I've been sitting in front of a microphone literally all day. So I will be right back after one moment. All right, folks, we are back just in time to catch the opening flag here in Azerbaijan. Also, by the way, thank you, Francisco Guilherme Ribeiro, and I'm certain I butchered that pronunciation, so I do apologize, for subscribing on YouTube. I appreciate it. All right. Loading complete. Well, once again, hopefully the race director does not glitch out on me, and I will be able to enter it and exit it as needed. And I really hope the game has not frozen on me. Oh, dear. Okay, good. We're good. Phew. All right. So we're waiting on the players to load in, and we should be good to go. Well, we're still waiting for folks. Well, here's how things look so far, folks. We've got Soldier 1 Assault in first for Team Alpine, Eska 0606 in second for Haas, Justin Takifani in third. Oh, wow, that kicked off immediately. Why am I not hearing any noise whatsoever? Okay, we're going to have to go back to audio because something got messed up. My master volume's all the way up. There we go. Audio restored. All right, well, folks, I'm sorry. It kicked off the race without really giving me much forewarning. So up first, we have Soldier One Assault here leading the pack, followed by Eska 0606, 0.8 seconds behind Jestem in third. Force One Palo with 1 second behind Jestem. Boris Doido, 0.8 seconds behind Force One Palo, his teammate. Ufapio, 1.5 seconds roughly behind him. Martins Carlos coming in seventh, 0.6 behind Claudio. 0.5. Lucas Maresh here also racing. Hiram Pelosi, Elite Shots, Teriel, GW, and Ert Knows Forever. I apologize, Ert. I have no idea how to properly pronounce that name, so here we go. All right, as we watch our racers, everybody now in Section 3. The top, I would say the top 11 racers, all very tightly packed, coming into this first straightaway. Of course, that blue-pink car Soldier One Assault driving, kind of signature, reminds me of Cotton Candy and Willy Wonka's Nerds flying through. Here we go. All right, so some possible strategies here. Fastest lap already by Soldier One Assault, 149.052, running medium tires, interestingly enough. Medium, I guess, to not overuse the soft tires. So we'll bring some of this back here. Detail, we'll go ahead and get position changes. Everybody, it looks like, after we check out the tires, most people using medium tires today. Jestem and Force One Paolo using hard tires, as is Tariel. The lone person using soft tires right now is Carlos, and he's in sixth. Everyone else is using medium with a handful of hards. And Tariel already switching, in fact, to medium tires. He's in the pit. I'm not sure if the initial lap was a mistake with that tire, but he's already in the pit, probably getting those tires switched out. We'll see what happens here in a moment. Yeah, he's now using a medium tire, 15 seconds behind the 13th place Ert Nas Forever. All right, let's go ahead and we'll switch back here to the position changes. Full track map. There we go. All right, so Boris Duito having made a move up now in 5th place, trying to catch up with Force One Palo. Force One Palo about 1.1 seconds ahead of him. And of course, with this track, unless you're on the straightaways, there's enough turns, enough sharp turns at that keeping your opponents in view can be a little bit tricky. Of course, we come around to this wide swinging turn midway through the 3rd section. And here's where we're going to maybe see something interesting. Boris Doido trying to push on Force One Palo. Force One Palo, though, keeping a clean racing line ahead of Boris. Not really giving Boris a chance to catch up. Soldier One Assault, again, fastest lap, 145.619. Nobody has done quite as well, it would seem, as they did during the qualifying rounds. When during the qualifiers, we had people getting down into the 142 range. So adrenaline hits a little bit differently. The actual competition puts pressure on people. We are seeing some interesting movements in the middle of the pack, though. Lucas Maresh jumping 5 places to 8th. So all the way from the 13th all the way to 8th for Lucas Maresh for Team Red Bull. Lucas, of course, trying to catch Claudio. Claudio also bumping up 3 spots from 10th to 7th. Claudio 1.9 seconds behind Carlos. Lucas 1.1 seconds behind Claudio. Very tight turns here midway through Section 1, pushing on into Section 2. So let's go ahead and check out my old high school classmate Carlos and how Carlos is doing. Carlos leading a pack of 3 cars behind him very closely, coming at Claudio, Lucas Maresh, and Elite Shots. Carlos falling 1 slot behind Boris Doido, but right on his tail at the moment as we enter the chicanes midway through Section 2. We'll see what Carlos is able to do here, if he's able to indeed make anything happen. He's only 0.3 seconds behind, shifting down, coming into that turn, trying to pull up some momentum again. Again, less than half a second behind Boris Doido. Boris Doido, interestingly enough, about 1 second behind Force One Palo. Up at the front, Soldier One Assault, more than 2 seconds ahead of Uska 0606, who also, Carlos bouncing off the left-hand wall in segment 3. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, maybe about half a second or so. And he's trying to push that engine up, catching it up on the straightaway. Meanwhile, Force One Palo trying to put some distance between himself and Carlos. Carlos stubbornly staying with him now. Boris Dorito and Force One Palo battling for 4th place here. As we check up on what the view is like for Force One Palo. Force One Palo 4 seconds behind Jestem. You can just barely make out Jestem's taillights here as we exit this turn. A little bit like watching an assassination target in Assassin's Creed. Every time you clear an obstacle, you just catch a glimpse of them zipping away. So tricky racing here in Azerbaijan. We are, of course, already on lap 4 out of 26, so a little under a sixth of the race done here. Once again, thank you for joining me here today on this lovely Saturday afternoon, April 13th, 2024. My name again, Sterling C. Beard, and you are watching the Brazuka E-Racing League. Lucas Maresh making some moves here, jumping to 7th, all the way ahead of Elite Shots, Hiram Pelosi, Claudio Eufapio, and rocketing there, in fact, all the way from 13th place, 7 slots up. An impressive move by Lucas Maresh. Oh, we've got a safety car out. We have a safety car. Oh, dear. Boris Dorito not finishing. I'm not sure what just happened, but something. Let's check the race director and see what just happened here with the instance. Terminal damage for Boris Dorito. Boris, of course, was up near the top of the race, so he will not be able to finish today. 14th place, did not finish. So that leaves us with 13 racers still in the field. Our new Jestem, of course, taking this time now to pit. 0.8 seconds behind Eska 0606. Force One Palo also pitting. This gives Carlos an opportunity to move up. As a matter of fact, Carlos now in 3rd, favoring this urban track here, but he is 8 seconds behind Eska 0606. So quite a bit of a gap between 2nd and 3rd place. Safety car still out. We'll see what happens here. Carlos here, however, making major time up, going from 8 seconds behind to about 1.2 seconds behind. So really pushing it, trying to make up some time on Soldier One Assault and Eska 0606. Jestem now 12 seconds behind Carlos. We'll see if Jestem is able to make up some time as well with the benefit of the safety car out front, slowing things down. Jestem 13 seconds behind Carlos. Our field has now opened up considerably. You can see on the mini-map in the lower right hand, the whole field is now kind of spread out between sections 2 and 1. Tariel just getting past that second turn in section 1. So safety car still out, lap 5. But we now have a very, very tight 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place as we have Soldier One Assault in the lead by 1.4 seconds, followed by Carlos at 0.4 seconds behind Eska. And Jestem just 2 seconds behind Carlos. Hiram Pelosi 2.2 seconds rather behind Jestem. So we'll see how things are going here. But a very, very tight race thus far. As a matter of fact, I count 5 cars now visible behind Carlos, 2 in front. So the top 8 or so in relatively close pack. Lucas Maresh now in 9th, about 9 seconds behind GW. Of course, aside from the catastrophic damage to Boris Dorito today, we are looking at the race director here. Not a whole lot of wild stuff going on. Not tons of pitting today either. Jestem has pitted once. Force One Palo has pitted once. Elite Shots once. Lucas Maresh, and I'm getting some voice chat from Claudio, so I need to go ahead and jump into my settings here and kill the voice chat again. It's not you, Claudio, it's me. One moment. There we are. The sounds of silence. Back into our race director real quick. Yes, most of our competitors, or about half of our competitors, have pitted at this point. Most people at this point currently using medium tires. We've seen some hard tire use today. Carlos was rocking the soft tires at one point. I believe he's back on the medium tires. We can check that real quick. Fastest lap, of course, the fastest lap today, 1:45.619 by Soldier One Assault. He is, of course, in first place. Eska 0606 not too far behind in second with a 1:46.349. Carlos, despite being in third, has his fastest time in the 1:47.307. So Carlos driving maybe slightly safer, but it is paying dividends as he is in third at the moment. So we'll check out the, oh, that's the gap, excuse me. So that's the leader. All right, and then with the detail, we'll check out the tires. Yes, Carlos still using soft tires here, 5 laps in on soft tires. Elite Shots has also shifted to soft tires. Everybody else right now rocking medium tires with the exception of Eufapio. And we've got do not finishes for Lucas Maresh and Claudio. We'll check the race director here to see the incidents on this. Lucas Maresh and Claudio, unfortunately, also suffering some terminal damage here. So a little bit like the Hunger Games, we've got some thinning of the pack. We are now down to 11 racers. Remember, of course, the top 10 racers are the ones that get the points, and the fastest lap, of course, getting that bonus point if they are in the top 10. Soldier One Assault, of course, as we saw a minute ago, the current racer with the top lap time so far. So in a good position to pick up the bonus point no matter what at this point. Safety car is out on lap 6 of 6, so just under a quarter of the way done with the race. It is 3:40 Central Standard Time here in the United States, where I'm broadcasting from. In Brazil, it is 5:40 p.m. or 17:40 if you prefer that sort of time scale. So safety car, we are now on lap 7. So just a hair under a third, I'd say, of the race done. And we've seen, thankfully, not too wild of a day. We've seen, of course, 3 competitors not able to finish with catastrophic damage. But again, the safety car out, that allows for some compression here of the field. As a matter of fact, we can see based on the gap that we have here, where we have it from the leader. Currently all the way back in 10th place, Eufapio, just 8 seconds behind Soldier One Assault, the leader in this race. Terriel, a bit further back, 20 seconds behind the leader in this race. See how he's doing here. Terriel kind of by his lonesome back there, 19, 18 seconds, 17 seconds, so making up a little bit of time maybe. If he can push it, he could catch up to Eufapio, who is only about 10 seconds ahead of him. All right, so safety car still out. The Soldier One Assault with that pink and blue terror following through the castle segment here at the beginning of the loop. So, of course, with the safety car out, not lots of wild changes going on, but the pack has compressed considerably. Terriel now cutting some distance, now 9 seconds behind the leader, just 3 seconds behind Eufapio. So this will be fun here when we can see everybody following in a nice line. All right, safety car in this lap from race control. And the safety car is gone. All right, well, things are heating back up now. Soldier One Assault in the lead, 0.3 seconds ahead of Eska. Eska, of course, has been battling for first this entire time, has not really, from what I've been able to tell, make a move just yet on Soldier One Assault, trying to bypass him, but has been just stuck there in second place like a piece of popcorn that hides between your teeth. Not giving really Soldier One Assault any cushion, any room to maneuver as we get through section 1, moving into lap 8. So again, the whole pack pretty compact right now. Everybody in this area. Terriel in 11th place, only 6.5 seconds behind Soldier One Assault. Everyone rocking medium tires now at the front of the pack. The top 3 are Carlos still rocking soft tires 7 laps in, so really riding those soft tires for all they are worth. Elite Shots also riding soft tires right now in 6th place. He just moved up, bypassing Hiram Pelosi. Eufapio and Terriel riding some hard tires right now. see. In their detailed tire penalties. So in terms of penalty, I didn't even know we had a penalties option here. That's nifty. All right, so in terms of, yes, tires, and we can see here, most people riding these tires are riding them for a long time today. You can see there 7 laps for Soldier One Assault with medium tires. Eska 0606, 7 laps, medium tires. Jestem, 3 laps, medium tires. Force One Palo, 3 laps. But then we get down to the back of the pack here. Hiring Pelosi, 7 laps. GW, 7 laps. Nas Forever, 7 laps again. A couple of folks on 3 laps with their selected tires. Elite Shots on 3 laps with his soft tires. Hard tires for Eufapio, 3 laps. Teriel running 2 laps with the hard tires right now. In terms of penalties, Soldier One Assault, of course, in the lead. Jestem with penalties about 2 seconds behind Soldier One Assault. Eska with penalties about 2 seconds behind Jestem. Carlos with about 4 seconds of penalties. And then we can see the penalties sort of escalating. GW and Nas Forever, actually, Force One Palo and Carlos battling here. Force One just overtaking Carlos, zipping by, trying to put some space between himself and Carlos to move up here. So Eska looks like has dropped down to 3rd. Jestem made his move, pushing up. So we're seeing some shifts around here now, especially Hiram Pelosi jumping up 5 slots, I should say, along with Nas Forever jumping up 6 slots. They now sit at 7th and 8th, putting them in a very a position that is pressuring Carlos. Carlos here trying to catch back up, get himself back into 3rd place, taking that corner nicely. He has been riding those soft tires for several laps now. As a matter of fact, we are on lap 9. Carlos still riding those soft tires. He has not, to my knowledge, pitted today. So yes, here we go. Stops. Has Carlos pitted? No, Carlos has yet to pit today. He's really riding these soft tires for all they are worth. Keep in mind, this is a 26-lap race. This is a short race after a short qualifier. So we've got 9, 18, 27. So we are just over a third of the way done. Carlos has not pitted. He has not swapped out tires yet. I will be interested to see if he does eventually switch away from those soft tires, maybe to a medium set. Nas Forever, however, has left the session. It looks like AI has taken over for him. We can see the transparent race car as AI takes over. Everybody else, I do believe, is still a real-life player. Now, we've got some jostling here going on between Elite Shots and Force One Palo. Force One Palo overtaking on the left side of Elite Shots. Elite Shots trying to cut in. Oh, and a collision. All right, we got a caution here for Sector 1. Elite Shots just undercutting. My goodness. All right, so Carlos now pushing up, trying to get in. He's being challenged on his back left corner. On the left side now, some jostling between Martin and Hiram Pelosi. And of course, Carlos now kind of sandwiched between Hiram Pelosi and Force One Palo. Palo kind of hanging back at his 6 o'clock position, not giving a ton of space to him. Same with, however, Carlos pressuring Hiram Pelosi, pushing through, attempting to push through, having a little bit of a difficult time. And as we can see here, we've got our leader gap going on. Soldier One Assault opening up a little bit of a lead over the middle of the field. Jestem is now about a half a second behind Soldier One Assault, just right on his tail. So kind of taking the spot that Eska 0606 had earlier, where he just refused to give the lead racer, Soldier One Assault, any room to breathe. Soldier One has held this lead since pretty much the beginning of the day, I believe. And of course, yeah, I do apologize that I was caught in the race director momentarily while the race kicked off. That is my fault, rookie mistake on my part. Oh, I'm seeing some sparks now from the back of Soldier One Assault's car. We've got a caution in Sector 3 and a safety car out. So let's check the race director. Was that an instant that we just saw? No, here we go. It was a warning for Elite Shots for a collision with Force One Palo. So let's go ahead and we'll jump back to Elite Shots and Force One Palo here and figure out exactly where things, of course, Elite Shots now pitting. This is his first stop today. All right, coming out of the pit, Elite Shots he's 11 seconds behind the leader. We're starting to see a pretty big gap open up between the top 2 and then third place and onward. Justin just 1.5 seconds behind Soldier One Assault. Soldier One doggedly hanging on to that first place position. Past that, however, we see Force One Palo 16 seconds behind the leader. Carlos 22 seconds behind. Elite Shots 24 seconds behind. Eska 29 seconds behind. Everyone else is over 30 seconds behind, with the exception of Ifapio, who is 23 seconds behind despite being in 10th place. It is now doubled to 50 plus seconds behind. All right, so took that a moment for it to update. All right, so let's check back in on Carlos here. He could just see the taillights of Force One Palo swinging around the turn into the loop in section 2. Of course, the safety car is still out. The last time we saw the safety car out, the pack did compress pretty considerably. Carlos now kind of on his own in no man's land a little bit. Behind him is, of course, Elite Shots, but I am looking at the rear view camera here for Carlos. Elite Shots is not visible as Carlos is whipping around these turns. So if we check out Force One Palo, of course, I mean, same story, different verse. He can actually see, it looks like, Carlos behind him. Yes, Carlos, of course, I believe you cannot make a move to pass while you are dealing with the safety car out on the lap. Carlos and Force One Palo about a quarter of the clock behind Soldier One Assault, Justin Tacky. Justin Tacky, however, and Soldier One Assault both pitting. Justin choosing to follow Soldier One's lead. Let's see what changes they make. We get a tire change, of course. So let's see what kind of tires that Justin and Soldier One Assault have chosen to go with. All right, Justin says 4 laps here. Hard tires, Soldier One Assault switching to hard tires as well. Carlos now up in first place, still riding those soft tires. 11 laps. Carlos really pushing these tires for all they are worth in an attempt to really, during the safety car, choosing not to pit. Very interesting tactic here from Carlos. He's in first, of course, trailing that safety car. So we'll see if this is I get the feeling now, I'm not a race expert. I told you all earlier that I am not a motorsports fan by birth. This is, in fact, I have watched it by this point more digital racing than I have real life racing, and it's all been in this wonderful league, the Brazuka Racing League. And thank you again for having me be a part of this experience. Carlos was the one who got me connected with Tariel and with Adriano, so this has been a fun experience for me, and I'm glad that, of course, things have finally worked out with my Xbox Live matchmaking, the crossplay, the difficulties that we've had getting solidly inserted here as we are in lap 12, and the pack has compressed pretty solidly at this point, with the exception of Ifapio and Tariel, 32 and 30 seconds behind the leader, 36 seconds behind the leader, I should say. GW, however, only 6.5 seconds behind Carlos. Carlos 11 laps in on these soft tires. At some point, I feel like he has to pit just because we are looking at 11 laps. There's only 26 laps in this race. So 13 laps in, we are now on lap 12. If he goes another lap, he will have spent half the race on these soft tires, and I just get the feeling there's not going to be too much of those tires left by the end of it. You want to talk about burning him out, using every last bit of those soft tires he can. That's what he's doing. Soldier One Assault, Justin, Elite Shots, Eska, those are the 2nd through 5th place competitors right now, all of them on hard tires. Force One Palo on medium. Hiram Pelosi looking to get some speed and handling here. He's on soft tires 1 lap in. Nos Forever, of course, I believe at this point, is Nos Forever still AI? Yes, he is. The AI having elected to roll with some hard tires here. GW also AI. Ifapio still with us. Tariel still with us. So we've got, at this point, it would appear, 11 racers, only 9 of which are human. So safety car still out. We got 13 laps, hard tires here. The entire field compressing behind Carlos. So as a matter of fact, Tariel now only 11 seconds behind Carlos, who's in the lead. as we get a look behind. Soldier One Assault, of course, in that blue and pink car, looking menacing here, about 1.2 seconds behind Carlos. All right, here we go. Sector 2, minute 5 seconds on this lap. Safety car still out, so we've got some time here. Let's go ahead and 12 laps now for those soft tires. I don't know how much more of those can take. So let's take a look here today at the tires everyone's been using. Martin, Carlos, the only person aside from Boris Doito, who of course did not finish due to terminal damage, is the only person today to not pit who has not switched tires. Everyone else has had at least one pit stop now. Some folks have had more. Terriel, as a matter of fact, has 3 pit stops with 4 different sets of tires used: medium, hard, medium, hard. And some other folks have used 3 sets of tires. Force One Paolo, it would appear, medium, medium, hard. So a good variety. You're not, of course, going to see any wets today. Relatively clean race. We've only had 10 incidents, despite the amount of time that the safety car has been out on the field. We've seen some collisions, some track limits exceeded, 3 terminal damages. That's where we've really seen, I think, a lot of the safety car come into play. Then, of course, elite shots, exceeding track limits in a collision with Force One Paolo. But that was the last penalty that we had, and that was just a warning. So, or last incident we had, that was just a warning. So, all right, safety car in this lap, according to the race control. And the safety car pulls away into the pit. We are underway. Carlos maintaining about a half-second lead over Soldier One Assault and elite shots, coming into the first turn on turn 1. Carlos not willing to let anyone undercut him, taking that turn at the top of turn 1 pretty tight. Of course, like I said, very tight behind Carlos now. Soldier One Assault and elite shots. So Soldier One Assault kind of swaying a little bit, maybe trying to put some pressure on Carlos, and he's going to pass underneath. He's on Carlos's left side. Carlos, however, cuts him off, is not able to make the pass as we come out of the chicane. I say cuts off, or that may not actually be how that's described, in which case I do apologize, but he couldn't quite find the gap there. Carlos still in the lead. Now everyone, a very compressed pack after the safety car laps. 5 seconds between Carlos and Jestim, who has now dropped to 11th place. Soldier One Assault in 2nd, Elite Shots 3rd, Force One Paolo in 4th, Eska 0606 in 5th, Hiram Pelosi in 6th, GW in 7th, Ertnaz Forever in 8th, Eufapio in 9th, Jestim Taki in 10th, and Tario in 11th. So as we enter the last curve of the loop here, 13 laps in, Carlos still has not chosen to pit today. I'm not seeing, let's see if we, Hiram Pelosi, Soldier One Assault and Elite Shots making a move on the inside there, and Carlos is going to pit now for the first time today, dropping to 6th place. But those 14 laps on those soft tires, I mean, impressive efforts there from Carlos. All right, we'll see Carlos now switching to medium tires. So I'm not sure we'll see Carlos take another pit today unless he needs more fuel. Carlos now dropping from 1st to 11th here. Elite Shots now in the lead, 4 laps in on hard tires. But of course, Soldier One Assault, Force One Paolo, and Eska very tight behind, less than 2 seconds behind each of those. So we're seeing a very tight race today. No wild, a collision there between Soldier One Assault and Force One and somebody, I didn't quite catch who that was. I think it might have been Elite Shots. Not bad, incidental. When you have this many cars this close together, a certain amount of incidental contact is going to happen, but we do have a caution flag in Sector 2, and the safety car joins us once again. So Carlos, despite taking time to swap tires, now back into 10th place. Eufapio also did not finish today, so that was probably what the safety car was out for. We'll check the race director. Instance, Eufapio, terminal damage for Team House. So we've had 4 terminal damages today, which means that once again, we've got the safety car out here on lap 15. So terminal damages, but otherwise a relatively clean race. We haven't really seen much in the way of incidents otherwise. We've seen some bumping, we've seen some track limits exceeded, but you know, I don't have the crazy scrolling that I had to do with the very first race that was in the rain. So a relatively clean race, did not finish as a side. Not too much bumping and shoving going on. Not tons of people exceeding track limits. So we're seeing some pits now here in the middle of the pack. Elite Shots pitting. Hiram Pelosi, Justin Tacky pitting. Justin, of course, 8 laps in on those hard tires. We'll see what Justin chooses to do. Justin still on those. Okay, Justin switching to soft tires here. Maybe looking to make a move. Elite Shots, everybody moving to medium. So now Justin with the only soft tires left on the course. Everyone else rocking medium and hard tires respectively. All right, so as the pits come out, we do have now some separation again, but again, we've got a safety car out. So good time to pit here. Not going to be tons of, you can't put really any distance with between people with that safety car out. So we'll see the pack compress once again. So some well-timed pitting there by folks. We can see here our leader time board as people come into the start of the loop in Sector 2. Force 1 Palo in the lead, followed by Soldier 1 Assault, Eska 0606, GW Ertnaz Forever, the AI, Terriel, Martin Carlos, Justin Tacky, Elite Shots, and Hiram Pelosi in 10th. Now again, we only have 10 racers left today, so assuming, of course, everybody finishes, everybody will get some points. Hiram Pelosi now 26 seconds behind with the safety car lap. I will expect, of course, Hiram to catch up and as the pack continues to compress, 23 seconds now. So that's what we're going to see. Safety car still out here on lap 16. You ever think about how good a job being the safety car guy at an F1 race is? You get to be super important. The guys who are competing have to pay attention to you. They don't have a choice. And you get kind of to be you lead every race you're a part of. Every lap you are a part of, you are in first place if you're the safety car driver. You get to drive a cool, tricked out car. It's a good deal. Safety car still in for this lap. Did not turn off, but we do have some folks pitting. Terriel, it looks like, is pitting as Carlos, Justin, and everyone else moves up. It looks like Elite Shots also pitting. So we'll see. Let's see if they change tires, if they're just picking up more gas. Yes, Terriel's going to shift to the soft tires. Justin also shifting to soft tires. So people kind of moving up and down the tire hardness scale today as we enter lap 17. Remember, this is a 26-lap race, so 9 laps left. We'll see if we can get through this without any more do not finishes and terminal damage. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we've had so few incidents today, comparatively speaking, aside from the catastrophic damages, is we've had the safety car out for what feels like a goodly amount of the race, to be honest. And that's why everybody's relatively compact. They're behaving themselves and having a good time. Elite Shot 17 seconds behind the leader. He will, of course, catch up as we come into the first turn of the loop. Force 1 Palo in the lead, rocking medium tires for 5 laps. Freshest tires, it would appear, on Terriel at 0 laps. He's rolling some soft tires. But the pack has considerably compressed at this point. Once again, we are now to the point where Force 1 Palo's in lead. Elite Shots only 6.5 seconds behind, a little under 6.5 seconds behind Force 1 Palo. As we pass the top of the hour, once again, thank you for joining me today. My name is Sterling Beard. I am pleased. Safety car in this lap again from the race control. Force One Palo doing some swerving there, trying to warm up his tires, I believe. Some of the other drivers also getting to the act, like Eska 0606. Of course, don't forget, GW and Naz Forever are AI controlled. That's why they are transparent. All right, and we are back at it here as we see folks zipping out. Force One Palo opening up the throttle. Get a load of that beautiful shot on that 3 straightaway there. Firing through the starting line. So we are on lap 18. We've got 8 laps left. All right, so up at the top of the race, not about what you would expect. We've seen Force One Palo in that leadership position for a decent chunk of the race. Of course, if it wasn't going to be Force One Palo, it was Soldier One Assault with that pink and blue kind of diva from Overwatch color scheme. It's an attractive color scheme. It works. It says, "I wish to drive a gender reveal party." So we can see that going on. Right behind him, of course, Eska 0606, 2 seconds behind. GW, also AI controlled, as you can see through the transparency. So AI control here for him. And of course, because he is AI controlled, Jestim able to take advantage of this, push right through the Ghost, and has now moved up into 4th place. Same with Carlos. Carlos pushing right through GW's Ghost, pushing up on into 5th place. So racers now pushing past the AI. I believe the rest of our racers are real life racers at the moment. Force One Palo, definitely a real guy. Soldier One Assault, also real. Eska in 3rd, real. Jestin in 4th, real. Carlos in 5th, real. GW in 6th, however, is AI, as is the 7th place Naz Forever. Hiram Pelosi, however, real. And we'll see if Hiram Pelosi here on this straightaway on the back end of Section 3 is able to push through the Ghosts here. And he's making a move on the left side, courteously, against Naz Forever. And he does. He's just got GW in front of him, and he will be in 6th place. Trying not to ignore the fact that it's a Ghost and use good etiquette passing properly is Hiram Pelosi. So we'll see if he can push past, and he rockets right through. I guess he heard my commentary. Pushes right through GW. Now on up into 6th place. This leaves Elite Shots also pushing through the Ghost of GW. We'll see if Tariel's able to push through the Ghosts here at the back of the pack, get up into, of course, he's in 10th place now, so he is guaranteed a point. He's got some overtake on, medium now, trying to catch up at the back of the pack and push through. Force One Palo still in the lead, Soldier Assault in 2nd, less than half a second behind. Eska 0606 also about 0.6 seconds behind. Carlos in 5th, that's the first time we see some gap opening up, but we've got a battle going on here between Eska and Soldier One Assault. Race control, 3-second time penalty for corner cutting for Eska, but he did take 1st place briefly. Force One Palo and Soldier One Assault slip right back out in front on his left side. So we saw some movement up there, but Eska cutting corners on the track, which, you know, to be fair, I would try that too. Most of my racing video game experience comes from Mario Kart in its various iterations. So we're seeing a pretty tight race up at the top 4 with Jestim, Eska, Soldier One Assault, and of course, in the lead, Force One Palo. Eska trying to shoot through, DRS enabled for the race control here. Eska, okay, we got a caution flag there for Eska. So we've got an instant flag. I think that's an instant flag. So see how they ruled that in Eska 006 collision with Force One Palo. That's a warning. So just a warning. No penalty there just yet. Eska, whoa! Some catastrophic damage. And it looks like, who was that? My goodness, possibly catastrophic damage. Who was that just slammed into the wall. One moment, I'll get you a name here. Oh, it didn't say a warning. So somebody did, however, slam into the wall. I saw that. I think it might have been Jestin. Carlos now in fourth place, trying to make a push up to third. Behind Eska 0606. Force One Palo in first place. Soldier One Assault running the hard tires. 8 laps with those hard tires. Force One Palo medium tires. 8 laps. Eska 0606. 9 laps with hard tires. Ertz Nas Forever, the AI, on its 10th lap, all the way back in 10th place with the hard tires. But I will say this strategy so far with that Carlos used, where he used soft tires for literally 13 laps, half the race, has allowed him to stay up near the front of the pack, briefly lead the race at one point or another. And he is only about 4 seconds behind the leader and less than a half second behind Eska 0606, who again, had a collision with Force One Palo a little bit earlier. So on our straightaway here as we enter lap 21, just 5 laps left, folks. Soldier One Assault in the gender reveal car, pushing out ahead. We got a caution in Sector 1 and Sector 3. So Jestim also choosing to pit at the moment. Not sure what the caution is for, Sector 1 and Sector 3. And we have another safety car out. Hiram Pelosi did not finish, so the field has now been reduced to 9. Let's check the race director and see what happened there. I'm assuming we had more terminal damage. No, we do not have a terminal damage for Hiram Pelosi. Oh, we do, excuse me. We do have a terminal damage, and we have collision with Hiram Pelosi, collision with Hiram Pelosi for elite shots. Those are warnings. Not penalties, those are warnings. So Hiram Pelosi unable to finish, it looks like, terminal damage after collisions with elite shots. I believe that to be the case, if I'm reading the race director correctly. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a dude from Texas. So we'll see how this all shakes out here. Again, the safety car is out on lap 21 of 26. So we'll check in on Soldier One Assault. Safety car not yet in view for Soldier One Assault. Safety car all the way back around in Section 1. So he's got plenty of time to try to get some, put some distance between him and the second place Force One Palo before, of course, the, I say, why would he bother doing that? He just wants to maintain first place. Before, of course, the pack compresses once more. While the safety car is out, let's go ahead and take a moment here to look at some of the other information. So in terms of intervals, yeah, it's still a pretty tight race up at the top. Fastest lap still belongs to Soldier One Assault, who is also currently in first place. Fastest lap today, a 1:45.619. So that puts, interestingly enough, Soldier One Assault up at the top with that fastest lap. However, it is not the fastest lap that we've seen today. That was actually during qualifying. We had several people during qualifying pulling out 1:42s. Of course, aside from first place, there's not really any sort of correlation here between the fastest laps and the placements. As a matter of fact, GW, who I believe is AI controlled at this point. Yes, GW's AI control has a 150.97, 150.097 for its fastest lap, but that is still good enough for third today. Carlos in second, locking the medium tires. Safety car still out, lap 26. We may be in for a battle here as we enter the last couple of laps. 11 minutes past the top of the hour, which means we should be finished here in the next 10 minutes or so. Now, one thing I am a little bit curious about, I don't know the answer to this, is whether the AI for Ghost Racers, like the current GW, who of course is taken over by AI, Nas Forever, also AI. Everyone else, however, a real racer. I'm curious to see if when GW and Nas Forever are attempting to overtake, if they try to overtake just by pushing through like the real life racers can, or if they will attempt to use proper protocol and attempt to pass in such a way that they're not phasing through their competitors. As we watch from Terriel's position here, Terriel in now the best position he's been in all day, most of the day at the back of the pack, 10th, 11th, 12th, 14th place. However, with the compression here from the safety car, lap 22 of 26, he has managed to push all the way up to 4th. And he has a chance for a pretty good finish here if he can hold this position. He is, of course, a few seconds behind the lead. Soldier One Assault still leading the pack. Carlos half a second behind him. The Ghost GW less than 1 second behind Soldier One Assault. Terriel just 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds behind the leader. You can see it right here. We're watching from Terriel's dash cam from the TV pod. Of course, again, the safety car still out as we enter lap 23. So this is going to be a very tight finish because we've had the safety car out so often, because it is out so late, because we've had so many did not finishes. As a matter of fact, we are up to 5 did not finishes. Because the safety car is out so much, we may see a wild ending here, folks. If we see the safety car out until the very last moment, at which point will our racers go for broke? Now, the question, I think, for me is going to be, will the tires hold up? Now, of course, Carlos, currently in second, took a gamble earlier in this race by sticking with soft tires for literally half the race, 13 laps or so. AI Nos Forever also doing the same thing, but with hard tires. At this point, it does look like the racers who are still with us are going to attempt maybe a mad dash at the very end. We have about half the field using soft tires. Terriel 6 laps in on soft tires, but back at the back of the pack, 6th through 9th, Force One Palo, Elite Shots, Eska 0606, Jestim Tacky, all of them using soft tires, and only Jestim has more than 1 lap on them. So we'll see how things go. Carlos, 8 laps on his medium tires, so they're warm at this point, very warm as a matter of fact. And he will not need to shift to a different set of tires here, as we have 3 laps left. Safety car in this lap, but here we go, folks. Safety car starting to pull away as we approach the pitting section. Soldier One Assault in the gender reveal special, trying to maintain this lead, holding on 11 laps with his hard tires, trying to put some gap now between him and Carlos, opening up a little bit of one. Carlos 1 second behind and falling, 1.3 seconds roughly, really desperately trying to put some distance between him and Carlos as they finish out this straightaway in sector 3. Again, very tight field. Jestim in 9th, just 4.5 seconds behind. We see some movement now with Terriel. Terriel pushing past the AIGW. Elite Shots pushing past the AI Nas Forever as well. We can see it right here. Everyone trying to push past the AI Nos Forever. Nos Forever's AI now in last place, and solidly so. Jestim Tacky trying not to run up too hard on Eska 0606. We do have a caution flag out in Sector 1. And that is going to be on Eska 0606, currently in 5th. I think that is his 2nd or 3rd caution flag today. Soldier One Assault still in the lead, but Carlos only about 1 second behind. Carlos very stubbornly clinging to Soldier One Assault here. We are on lap 24 of 26 as we enter the chicanes at the start of the loop. Force One Palo not too far behind, catching glimpses of Soldier One Assault, seeing snatches of Carlos. Elite Shots also behind Force One Palo. And folks, the top 6 places are less than 4 seconds separated from the leader. And of course, the leader can't be separated from himself unless he is indeed sort of in this quantum superposition where he is both ahead and behind. And this changes just based on whether you observe him or not. But as we observe him from the helicopter cam here, flying now into this straightaway in Sector 3, hammering the throttle. Carlos, though, not that far behind, 1.4 seconds. Again, this is lap 24. We are fixing to head into lap 25. There we go. Force One Paolo, Eska 0606 now with the fastest lap of the day, 145.254, taking that from Soldier One Assault. So that puts us in a position where Eska can still finish a little bit behind, but he might get the bonus point if he can hold that fastest lap. Again, people setting faster qualifying laps than anyone has so far today in the actual race. All right, we're starting to see the pack kind of stretch out a little bit. The AI, GW, and Nas Forever in 7th and 8th place. Teriel in 9th place. He's pitting, swapping, I think. No, still using the same tires 5 laps in, it looks like. 15 seconds behind the leaders. Uh-oh, race control, elite shots, time penalty, corner cut. Oh, and we saw, oh my goodness gracious. We just saw Carlos, I think, drove over the top of someone who had spun out to the side, and I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been Soldier One Assault. No, Soldier One Assault currently is DNF, unfortunately. So Soldier One Assault for Team Red Bull, DNF. Oh my goodness, now it's anyone's race. Lap 25 of 26, Force One Paolo in the lead. Soft tires, 3 laps on them. Behind him by 2 seconds, Carlos, 2.3 seconds behind. Justin also 2.5 seconds behind. Followed by Eska 0606. So very, very tight up at the top. AI, GW, Ernst Forever in 5th and 6th. Elite Shots here. And followed by Teriel. Teriel 50 seconds behind the leader. Elite Shots in 7th place, 22 seconds behind. Justin and Carlos jockeying for position here. Carlos trying to hold it. Justin moving in on his left side, successfully passing. Carlos in 4th place, excuse me. Oh, we had a collision there. Just a bump, though. Nothing too wild, no changes. Eska 0606 does have a flag, as does Elite Shots. Justin in 2nd, behind Force One Paolo. Force One Paolo 1.5 seconds ahead. We are on the final lap, folks. Lap 26 out of 26 as we check out Force One Paolo. Again, we are in Sector 1. It's still relatively early in the lap. But can anyone catch up to Force One Paolo? He's got soft tires on, just like I predicted. Top 3 places right now, all using soft tires. Carlos using medium tires, GW, Ertnaz, and Elite Shots. Those first 2 using hard tires, Elite Shots, soft tires. Teriel, medium tires. Force One Paolo, everyone's swinging a little bit wide coming into that first chicane. Oh, man, this is going to be tight. Okay, Justin Tacky, a half second behind Force One Paolo. Force One Paolo, of course, can see in his rearview mirror that Justin is not going to let him run away with this. Eska behind Justin, just 1.5 seconds behind Force One Paolo. Carlos dropping back 4.9 seconds behind, having maybe a little bit of trouble in this loop, trying to catch up. And I don't know if he'll be able to make up that much distance. Here we go. Into the straightaway. Force One Paolo in the lead. 0.2 seconds, though. Behind him is Tacky. Tacky trying to overtake on the left side. Left side, it's going to be at the very end of it. Tacky making the move at the last possible second with the fastest lap time. 1:44.634. Caution out in Sector 1. But we have our first 4-place finishers. Justin Tacky with the last second overtake. 6 laps on those soft tires, but those were warming up. He pushed up and through. Force One Paolo in 2nd. 0.6 seconds behind Justin. Eska 0606 in 3rd with a 4.49. Carlos 6 seconds behind the leader. 12 laps on his medium tires. AI, GW, AI, Ertnaz Forever. 17 seconds behind in 5th and 6th respectively. Elite Shots in 7th. And that's going to do it for us today. Teriel retiring from the session at the very end. But folks, here we go. 2nd place, Force One Paolo. That's where we're watching right now. My goodness, an exciting final lap. Justin Tacky is the driver of the day, according to F123. And there you have it, folks. A wild finish to the race in Azerbaijan. And Tacky can apparently levitate. Well, that's an interesting and completely unrealistic celebration. Team Aston Martin taking first place there. I'm glad it worked today, and thank you again for joining me, folks. I'm so happy that I'm so relieved that we didn't have any technical issues today, and this worked out just fine. All the better for everyone involved. This is our final results, folks. Jestim started in grid 3, finished first place with 4 stops, but also the fastest time, gaining 26 points. Force 1 Paolo, 18 points. Eska 0606, 15 points. Carlos, 12 points. AIGW at this point, 10 points. Ertnos Forever, 8 points. Also AI Elite Shots takes 6 points. Teriel finishing in 8th with 4 points. Soldier One Assault, who leading for so much of this race, finishes in 9th here with 2 points. Hiram Pelosi did not finish, but gets 1 point for coming in 10th. Eufapio, Lucas Moresh, Claudio, and Boris Doito do not finish today with catastrophic damage. So we started with 14. We have 5 did not finishes, but a wild and fun day out here in Azerbaijan. So once again, folks, my name is Sterling C. Beard. Thank you for joining me today as we saw this fun race here in the Brazuka E1 race, e-racing league, or F1, I should say, the Brazuka F1 Racing League. Lots of fun. I really enjoyed calling it today. If you are watching on Twitch, Twitter, or I should say X, or YouTube, please do not hesitate to give me a follow. I am broadcasting the remainder of these. I'm broadcasting these as much as I can when my time allows. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me.